Sit back, kick your feet up, grab a cold one, and enjoy the impending collapse of the Calgary Flames. Let's get into it with the lead. Oh, the hits just kept on coming, Liam.
There was banger after banger after banger from the gold member Seravalli.
Oh, what a day. What a day. First, it was, Elias Lindholm might not want to resign. And I was like, Mikael Backlund might not want to resign. Noah Hanifin definitely doesn't want to resign. Tyler Toffoli doesn't want to resign, and he wants a trade now. He's not even given a list of teams. He's like, anywhere but here.
Well, so what are we talking about? Baggedmilk here. What are we talking about? 5-6 tweets from Frank that just ruined Calgary's day?
Bang, bang, bang.
And the hits just kept coming. Nothing but bangers from Seravalli on a Thursday.
It was like that one J. Cole album. What was
no
that?
Features.
Yes. What was that one called?
2014 Forest Hills Draft.
Yep. Bingo. And he sat on the roof. God, that was a great one. That reminded me yesterday of Seravalli.
Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. You can find them online at sportscloset.ca. I'm pulling up their website right now. They have some nice Blue Jays gear. I see. And look at that nice dark gray sweater, Liam.
I was actually in Sports Closet yesterday.
Okay.
For my dad's birthday is coming up, and I was looking for a nice picture for him, a nice sports memorabilia picture. Sports Closet's got it all. Also have a nice little rack of Oilers Nation gear there too, which is always good to see.
It is always good. If you want to try on Nation gear in person and whatnot, Sports Closet can absolutely help you out. Oilers Nation Everyday, live on the Oilers Nation YouTube, where bring Cassian home is the first comment of the day. At this point, Calgary might need to sign Cassian for their top line. They might. I don't know what they're going to do. It's an interesting thing, and I'll go maybe an interesting direction with this because we are starting the show with some talk about the Calgary Flames.
Fortunately,
this might be the best thing for them.
1,000,000%. They need this so bad. They needed this last summer, but they tried to keep it alive, and now it is just full on Deadsville. This needs to become. They need to become the Arizona Coyotes quickly. They're obviously going to struggle to. They're not going to move Huberdeau and Kadri and those kind of guys, but they do, right? They do.
How sweet is it to be Huberdeau? First year of the contract kicking in right now, and he's the Will Smith meme where he's standing in a room alone. Him and Kadri, long-term deals, and everyone else is bailing.
Blake Coleman's still there for a while. Who else they got? Rasmus Anderson's on 3 years left on his deal. Markstrom's got 3 years left. But if you're like Tanev, what's he going to do? He's 33. You would imagine they don't want to re-sign him if they go into his rebuild.
Yeah. So
they have some pieces. Connor Zary is a very good prospect for them in where do they
have
play?
Some
Calgary,
B+ prospects.
No, I think I would say Zary is an A- prospect. Zary is their best prospect.
Would you trade Xavier Bourgault for Connor Zary?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. To back my point up.
I don't believe you.
Your
mouth said yes, but your face said no.
I like Connor Zary. I think he's got a little bit. I think he's got a lot of swag to his game, and he's a centerman.
Okay. Okay. Lindholm leaving will hurt because he's 28, right? And you're losing out on a few years of this guy's prime. Hanifin leaving will hurt because he's a 26-year-old top pairing D-man. But where I'm getting with this actually isn't a terrible thing for the Flames. One, in today's NHL, it is easier to rebuild, I would argue, than ever because young talent can come in and make an immediate impact. They're also going to get a chance to make some big moves in a year where the draft is very deep in the first round. Not signing Mikael Backlund to a 3 to 4 year deal when he's about to turn 35, he's saving you from yourself by
that's
not signing.
Smart move.
Even I would argue Chris Tanev. He's got a couple of good years left in him. I'm not saying he won't, but if you have to sign that guy at 33, soon to be 34 or whatever, to a long-term extension, probably a mistake.
And also, he just had that back injury.
Yeah. Tyler Toffoli, 31 years old, scoring winger. Those guys don't always age well. If you can get a high-end prospect for him, that also, you're good. I think there's a little bit of this where Calgary needs to take the angle of short-term pain, long-term gain. And that will help them. And this, I should say, is helping them accomplish something that maybe they don't want to accomplish, but that
Yes.
they need to accomplish.
Yeah, big time. I agree with everything. Another thing on top of that too is how weak this free agency class is. The trade market right now is very beneficial for teams who are trying to sell. So it's a good time for Calgary to move on and try and do that. So what are you laughing at?
Nova said, I used to pray for times like this.
There was another comment too that said Liam, Arizona has a nicer arena than the Saddle Dome.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that's not tap dancing on the grave a little bit? I just feel like I see somebody here saying karma is a bitch in the comment section. I don't know who said that, but I look at some of the contracts the Oilers have coming in the next handful of years, and I'm staying quiet until those are locked in.
I just don't.
I think Calgary's just been toxic.
About that. Yeah, Calgary was different, right? Like, if you're trying to allude to like, oh, I'm not gonna, talk about the Flames because McDavid and Draisaitl are up in 2 or 3 years. That's kind of irrelevant in all of this.
How?
Because Edmonton is a legit Stanley Cup contender, and those two guys have already committed to the organization. It's not like McDavid and Draisaitl have never signed a contract here, right? Like Hanifin, I don't think has ever signed a contract. I think he was still playing on the
Dougie Hamilton deal, right?
Yeah, he was Dougie Hamilton deal. Lindholm, right? Like these guys were brought into Calgary, traded for, and now they're saying, oh, we don't want to be there. Also, it's all support pieces. Like the idea that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to leave, I think is ridiculous.
Tinfoil hat theory.
What?
Do you think Brad Treliving knew all of this was coming, and that is part of the reason he mutually agreed to leave the Calgary Flames?
Yes.
I think that was more about Sutter, so no.
So that doesn't it make it even stranger how that all played out?
I just there's something the rink I think has actually a big thing to do with it.
I think it's part of it.
I think it's part of it. I think the culture that was set. Yeah, I don't know. The culture that was set last season with Sutter as a part of it as well. And I think guys are there's just bad vibes with a lot of these players because of all of that. And I think Conroy and the new head coach there, and no matter what else happens, it's just like the lingering effects of like what has occurred, and nobody wants to be a part of it anymore. I think that's probably fair to say, right?
Yeah. I think it's part of it. I think Sutter really took a toll on some of those guys. Megabird says they did get Weegar and Huberdeau to sign long-term for better or for worse. Yeah, but I would argue those were also kind of mistakes when you look at how the last year played out. So it'll be interesting to see how things go in Calgary. If anything, I know people are saying like, oh man, you feel for Craig Conroy. I don't feel for Craig Conroy because now he can do the difficult thing, which again is putting this team through a bit of a retool. And your excuse is built in. You go, well, look, like you're going to look like a genius when you start bringing in first-round picks for these guys.
I was going to say, I am totally with you because he's got a free pass to blow it up, and everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's other young guys that played last season too, like Dylan Dubé. I would imagine they probably are able to sign him on and be part of the future. Matt Coronado is another one, a former first-round pick. Matthew Phillips, if they get him to come back.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dustin Wolf is a sick goaltender too. He's going to be very good if they can.
Vladar's another guy that they should be able to get a good return for too.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like Rasmus Anderson's still only 26 as well. As much as we all hate him, he's actually not bad.
And he signed to a banging deal.
So it's not all doom and gloom. I actually, like you kind of said off the top, the one player I'd be bummed about losing the most is Noah Hanifin.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Lindholm. I actually think he's bailing you out a little bit as well. I think Lindholm's very good. But by the time you have an 8-year deal with him, what is he now? 28?
Yeah.
36 years old. Like, I just don't know if that's a recipe for success. Like, I know the Oilers did it with Nuge, but it's different because they don't need Nugent-Hopkins to be their best player, and he's paying what, $5.5 million?
Yeah, like Lindholm's gonna get $9 million a year, probably, right?
I wouldn't want to pay that. Backlund needs to go anyway. He's lucky at a career year, and then Toffoli, like you said, like great season this year, 34 goals, but 31 years old now. Is he going to be? How often is he going to be able to do that?
Frank today on DFO Live said something. I'm paraphrasing here, but along the lines of, if you were to remove the organizations from it, is there a better fit for Tyler Toffoli than the Edmonton Oilers?
No, they have got a wide open spot on the right side. Wide open. They need player. I love players coming in as auxiliary parts, like side pieces that have Stanley Cup experience. I'd love it. That's
kind of what Toffoli's been his whole career, isn't it? He's never had to be like the guy, and I don't think he's good enough to be the guy either, but he's just been that secondary scorer who obviously had a fantastic season in Calgary, 34 goals, 73 points. Man, if he scored even 25 on the Oilers, I'd be thrilled to have him on our team. Yeah.
Pumped. And it's not like he doesn't, he'll go to the hard areas too. He's not a guy that just plays from the peripheries too. I would love it. Again, though, like, are the Flames going to trade with the Oilers? No, probably not.
We have seen the two sides link up for deals in the past, though.
Not on major deals, though. Not really.
Yeah, like Lucic for Neil was a bit like shrugging, looking at each other and going, well, we're both screwed.
It's like, let's give me your bag of garbage for my bag of recycling.
Schmid.
Yeah, the Schmid-Brossois deal.
Did you see the comment that Elliot Friedman made when he was talking to Jeff Merrick?
Yes, I love that. I love that one.
Tell the people. What do you say?
The quote is directly talking about an Oilers player. The Oilers player, said that when the Oilers were winning that series against the Calgary Flames, it became a bit of a rallying cry for them, that they knew if they won that series, they could possibly break up the Flames.
They were right.
That's the thing is there too, and I know Gaudreau was obviously a free agent, and there was already rumors about Tkachuk, but does that not tell you how fragile that organization was?
Yeah.
If 2 years ago players out, like, we obviously didn't know until now, but players knew back then, like, one loss could really disrupt everything there, and it did exactly that.
Well, isn't it wild though? Like, players obviously talk to each other, and you get a gauge of what your opposition has going on in their room, even though it's not a public thing. I find that interesting.
Okay, we got some comments here in the Oilers Nation YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button in there. D White, a couple people actually, D White and Rusty both kind of saying, like, how could Toffoli get to Edmonton? Megabird said they're never going to trade him here. Unfortunately, Brainwash begging for Toffoli in Edmonton. Nova says we'd probably have to overpay for him. Let's get to our AMA travel trade machine for today, actually, because I cooked the trade machine, cooked something up. What would it take to get Tyler Toffoli on the Edmonton Oilers? You would probably have to pay a pretty amount.
I'm really looking forward to hearing what your trade is here, because you don't want to give the Flames too much.
You don't.
But you want Toffoli. You're going to have to give. So I'm really excited about this.
Here's what we got for our friends at AMA Travel and AMAtravel.ca. The Oilers get Toffoli in that $4.25 million cap hit. The Oilers give up Fogle, Bourgault. The third round pick was coming to Edmonton in this.
Not in your trade.
Oh, really? Okay, well, let's dissect it like this then.
I think that's too much.
I think that's too much too.
I think Bourgault
only because
is a better prospect.
Yeah, and for me, it's too much too, because if Toffoli had more than just the 1 year left on his deal, I'd be more open to it.
What do you think?
What if Edmonton was getting the third in it? Toffoli and a third for Fogle and Bourgault.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be better with that one.
So that's what shifts the
because
value
the Oilers have 3 picks at the draft next week. They do not have a third round pick next week.
No, it's a 2024 third round.
Oh, next year.
Yeah, next year, which they have.
Yeah. Toffoli helps you win today.
Yeah.
Xavier Bourgault does not. The 2024 third round pick, that's not going to help you for 5-6 years. Maybe. And then Fogle, well, I mean, that hurts, but.
So, yeah, the third on the opposite side of this. Edmonton gets a third and Toffoli. Fogle and Bourgault go the other way. Do you do that deal?
I would, if this was the deal, I would request Calgary to bring that salary cap down for the rest of the season to maybe $1 million off.
Yeah.
I just think Bourgault, we need to have a little bit more belief in him. I get it. Like, he's not helping us today. But I also think the Oilers actually have a pretty good crop of forward prospects that they could throw in somebody else to maybe mix up, like maybe a Tulio, for example. Or honestly, I might even give up a Raphael Lavoie in this pick rather than a Bourgault.
They wouldn't do that, though.
You don't think so?
They're going to need a premium. Dude, Tyler Toffoli scored 30 goals last year.
No, I know, but what's his name? Lavoie is looking like he could play in the NHL next season.
As a bottom 6 winger.
Middle 6 winger.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think he has upwards of a second line center role in the future. And if Calgary's trying to retool on the fly, do you not want a guy that can play today?
He's not. There's not enough there. I think if you don't want to give up Bourgault, then you're giving up your first rounder next year in this deal. Would you give up your first rounder for a year of Toffoli?
Yeah.
So you value Bourgault higher than your first rounder next year?
Yes, I do. I just value players more than a pick.
Yeah.
You know what you got.
And maybe Calgary would want the pick instead. So maybe it's a first Fogle for Toffoli.
Yes, I would do that.
You would do that over Bourgault. Interesting.
Yeah.
Canadian Oil says, remember money in, money out. That's kind of why Fogle's in this deal. And also you have to remember if you're signing or bringing in a guy like Foley, the Connor Brown thing probably put an end to that. Seven sleeps until Connor Brown's an Oiler. But that's
what's the over under on that, Tyler? Like July 1st, free agency opens. How many minutes until Connor Brown's contract comes through? Of course, we know that the NHL and players do not speak before July 1st. They would never do such a thing.
That would be tampering.
But they need to get through the very specific contract details, money, term, probably some bonuses in there. What's the over under?
So Daily Faceoff Live is doing our 2-hour special from 9 a.m. Mountain Time until 11 a.m. Mountain Time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say by the end of that 11 a.m. show, it's done.
When does it kick off?
9
a.m.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 9:15.
You think we get it that quickly?
Oh,
or like how fast was Zach Hyman's deal announced?
I'm trying to find when like Jack Campbell was announced.
But that was still during. I think the Hyman one was during the legal courting period, right?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, then what about Jack Campbell?
Yeah, Jack Campbell was a good one.
That's what I was trying to find, like when Jack Campbell was signed.
He's like 10:03.
We probably had the article ready to go because everybody knew.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Connor Brown is already in town.
Yeah.
He's just chilling.
Might be going down to Calgary if this trade happens.
Did he end up going on Leafs Morning Take?
No, he didn't. But Nick's still trying to get him.
Okay, good.
I will ask the hard-hitting questions.
I love that you do that for us. Someone in the chat, who was it? Levi said he won't re-sign. It's a no-go from me. To me, it's not a no-go. I give up my first-round pick if I can add a 30-goal scorer onto Draisaitl's wing for the entire season. I think that's totally. And you get out of the Fogle thing, like it makes sense. I would easily give up the first-round pick for Tyler Toffoli. I honestly think the Flames might get more than that, though. I think Edmonton will get outbid. Like even Bourgault, I think if you're hesitant to give up Bourgault, you're just not going to get him.
It just feels like no matter if the Oilers were even in on it, they'd have to pay a premium of like 15% more than anyone else because it's the Oilers.
Yeah. Probably. So probably best to shift our focus somewhere else. Is Toffoli an ideal fit? Absolutely. If Tyler Toffoli was on almost any other team in the NHL, I'd be like, get this guy. But I just don't think so. Cole is in and says, are the Oilers looking for goalies? No. Zero need for the Oilers to get a goalie. They got 2 for next year. Viperisk said Soup was later in the day, if I remember correctly. Yeah, but like,
we knew.
Everyone knew. Like the week leading up, it was Kemper's going to Washington, Campbell's going to Toronto, and what are the Leafs going to do?
I actually remember when I was making the graphics last season for the website, I used Jack Campbell as like my template as the first one to be ready.
Yeah. Viperisk says Soup and Stew is 7.2 million. Teams don't have 2 goalies for that low. Yeah, it's good. James asks, what about Blake Wheeler? Toffoli is miles better than Blake Wheeler. I guess the only difference is you're going to get Blake Wheeler for a mid-round pick.
Yeah.
And you don't have to give up a premium asset. And the Jets are probably going to keep half. So
yeah. Toffoli. My list would go Toffoli, Connor Brown, Blake Wheeler. I think that's probably fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Foley, Connor Brown, Blake Wheeler.
Actually, it would go to Foley, Connor Brown, JVR, Blake Wheeler.
Yeah, I like JVR a little
Konechny?
more.
Okay, it would go.
Yeah, Konechny's up there, but I think it's a little unrealistic.
Yeah, I heard Gregor and Frank just rumble those on the rundown and crush our dreams.
Levi says you give up Bourgault for 1 year of a 30-goal scorer. Bourgault's going to be that in 2 to 3 years. He probably won't be. Like again, and I know you were talking about Lavoie. Every organization has a Raphael Lavoie.
I don't think Bourgault will be that quickly. But the way I kind of I look at this is it's hard to say because the cap is probably going to go up too. But like you kind of need just those guys to contribute in the bottom a little bit, and having those cheaper deals always helps.
Yeah.
But Bourgault needs a big year in Bakersfield next season.
He does, because there were mixed reports about his first pro season.
He had 13 goals, 34 points in 62 games.
Yeah.
He can do it. Like he scored 30 a couple of times in junior, but junior's a lot different than what it is in the pros. And I think he'll be good.
Brent says he wouldn't touch Wheeler with a 10-foot pole. I think the off-ice stuff is a legitimate concern and question with Blake Wheeler. But I also wonder if you got to, like, I think there's something mentally to, like, he was the captain in Winnipeg, and that's maybe why things got sour. You coming into Connor and Leon's locker room, you probably check yourself a bit.
The way I would also ask that question is we had those same concerns probably by a factor of 10 when Evander Kane came in.
Yeah. Our counterpoint, someone brought that up earlier in the week, BM. And our counterpoint was like, yeah, but how many times you want to mess with that, right?
Fair. That's totally fair. I just think that, like, that's not the roadblock
Yeah.
preventing me from seeing what Blake Wheeler wants.
Sure.
Because if he's in your top 9, I know he's not Blake Wheeler that he was even a handful of years ago. We're talking about a big dude with a little bit of touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, Canadian Oil, Bourgault didn't stand out in Penticton. He's not a 30-goal scorer in 3 years. You just had his DB open. He was like barely a 30-goal guy in junior. You know? I know they play like way less games. And stuff. Yeah, okay, he was.
He was.
Yeah,
well,
he
and
had
this
that
year,
great last season.
he
Right?
just didn't play a lot because of
Yeah.
obviously the COVID that damaged his career a
Yep.
little bit. But
That's my bad.
he's not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. He relies heavily on his line mates to help him. Which
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going into the Edmonton Oilers, that's not very difficult either. You have those guys.
Fair. Sherwood Ford Giant off-season question for the day, Liam, brought to you by our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. There's only a week left in the month of June, which means there's only a week left for you to head down to Sherwood Ford the Giant, take a test drive, and guess what? When you do it, they're going to make a donation to the Strathcona Community Hospital Foundation. We got some fun stuff coming up with Sherwood Ford in the month of July as well. Maybe Liam and I getting behind the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Gonna go find a 2002 Ford Focus. Relive my first car days.
hell yeah. This is the opportunity. They better have a 1987 Ford Escort GT for me.
Mhm. Show's going to be coming live, or I'm going to be coming live with Gregor to do the show from Nashville next week. NHL Draft Week.
Oh, did we
Yes.
pick up a new intern?
Yeah, intern Jason.
Cool.
I told him he has to be ready to help me with my bags at the airport.
Yeah, like make him get it. Yes, go get you coffee and stuff.
Yeah. Liam, you wrote a great piece up at Oilersnation.com. We should put the link in today's episode description if people want to read it. But you did like some simulators on the draft and you outlined some potential targets for the Oilers.
Yeah, so there's a simulation. It's on FC Hockey, which is a fantastic little tool. They do a good job all season long. And you can simulate what the Oilers would pick and like who would be available. So the one name that came up twice within my 5 simulations was Kaden Price. So I like.
Tell me more about Kaden Price.
Kaden
The giant
Price.
offseason question, by the way, is who are some potential fits for the Oilers in the second round?
He's a Cologne Rockets defenseman.
Ooh,
And
D-man.
Yeah, he's a defenseman. I feel like that's where the Oilers should go, to be honest. Right shot, pretty solid. Left shot actually. I like him. He's got some offense to him. His defensive game needs to improve slightly, but has got better. Next season in Kelowna, he should probably be the guy. And he plays on the top pairing whenever he's in those Canadian teams or Hellinka, U18s, whatever it may be. I think he's got a ton of upside. He actually scored 30 goals once in I think U18 hockey as a defenseman, which is kind of nuts to see. But there's a ton of other guys. Lucas Dravicevic is one from Tri-City. I like Cohen Zimmer, who is a huge body from Prince George, actually from Marathorpe in Alberta. So good Alberta boy. Skating needs to get better, but he's very good at just kind of controlling the pace of the game. And I mean, if you're scoring 40 goals in the Western Hockey League, you've got some touch to you and pretty good vision with the puck too. Really good down low and off the boards. I like him. And then there was one other gentleman I wrote about, and Lind from the Red Deer Rebels, Callan Lind. He's
got some brothers that made
plays
the jump,
for the Kraken. His brother plays for the Kraken. His first name is slipping me, but I like him. He's an asshole, to put it politely. He's
in the nicest
way. He is the biggest pest on the ice. He is going to get in your face every opportunity. He's like 5'10", can score goals, really good both ways. Just brings a ton of energy to the game and skates very, very well. So if I'm the Edmonton Oilers, I'm looking at kind of those guys, and I really think they're going to go to a Western Canadian player because one, they don't have a scout in Ontario, so that'll do it. And two, it's kind of been a trend the last few years for the most part of like Dylan Holloway, Carter Savoy, Reed Schaefer. You know, they really like going in this direction.
Odin says Price won't make it out of the first. Hearing you talk about Kaden Price, I might make him my guy. I like the size, 6'1", right? Like he's not an undersized D-man by any means. You look at the different rankings, and you know, Stephen Ellis has him at 39. The Hockey News has him at 73. McKenzie has him at 67. Button has him at 56. Elite Prospects has him at 37.
Horrobin has him where?
At 56.
Excellent.
Going to the Oilers. That's where the Oilers' first pick in the draft this year is 56. So you're Sherwood Ford Giant offseason question of who could the Oilers target in the second round. I think I'm giving Kaden Price the Oilersnation Everyday stamp of approval. I think that's going to be our guy.
I like him. I like him a lot. It's him all in for me. Those are my two bingo slots that I'm going for.
So part two, and this is one I have for you, BM.
Sure.
Percent chance the Oilers just trade that pick. Do you think there's a chance they move their second rounder this year?
If so, correct me if I'm wrong, Liam, please.
Okay.
This draft is one of the deepest in recent memory. Yes,
it's good. It's missing goaltenders, like an elite goaltender, but I think the first round is elite. The second round is a lot of good talent, and it kind of drops off a little bit.
So my thinking is Ken Holland has shown he's willing to trade back to try and get more picks. So if the draft is, relatively deep and say 56 is equal to maybe, 10 slots lower, would he trade back down a little bit to acquire 2/3 or something? I can see him doing that.
I think that's something that could happen to it. And Ken Holland, I believe he kind of muttered that a little bit. It's like, we're not going to move it for like a player. Like our scouts need to pick some, and you do have to have some respect for the work the scouts have done all season, and to go into the draft with nothing is great for all of us, because it means the Oilers have probably made some fun trades along the way. But for the scouts, okay, well, what did I spend 5 weeks in Prince George for this season watching nothing, so
because Esther's Inn has a water slide there and it's cool.
That's probably why they were there for 5 weeks, and I suppose. So I think they could trade back, but I think they might still pick in the second and get like an early third or something like that.
What's going on? People like jumping up and down on the unit on top of us. Anyways, I think 10% chance he trades it in like a hockey trade to get a player. I would say 20% chance he uses it to move down a little bit. I could see that. If you could pick up a 4th rounder to move down 20 spots and just pick in the 3rd, 4th, and 6th, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. I do like this draft though. This is the first draft class in Western Canada that I scouted, so I got a little bit of a soft spot for a lot of these guys.
Taves to Edmonton says the WHL is the closest league to the show. I actually don't think that's right. The OHL is the best league.
So doesn't that make it more troubling? The Oilers reportedly don't have a scout in that league.
Yeah. Listen, I love the WHL, but I mean, sitting there saying that it's got more talent than the O is probably a mistake.
Let me ask you a question. Is the Q underrated because they keep winning Memorial Cups?
I think it probably is underrated. I mean, like you said, they go to these tournaments every year and they beat everyone. It's hard to say. I think the teams are very good. I don't know if the players always translate to the NHL perfectly.
Michael says it isn't missing goaltenders. WTF. Actually, the one thing when you ask people who...
There's no goaltender going to first round.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, probably not.
Which to me,
even if one goes, it's going to be very late.
Like you look at a couple of years ago when there was Sebastian Costa and Jesper Wallstead, and the year before there was Askarov, and then there's just like there's no Carey Price in this draft. Like the second round is good ones. Is the Fowler guy from the USHL who won the USHL championship with Youngstown this year? There's the Slovakian guy who I know the Oilers have been linked with a little bit. Like first round, there's not a lot, and that suggests it's not like an elite draft, but I think the actual skaters in this draft are very, very good.
I don't think the QMJHL banning fighting has anything to do with the quality of prospects that are putting forward, so we can squash that. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
You cannot fight in the NCAA, and half those players are the best in the league.
There you go.
Jack Eichel just won the Stanley Cup and was arguably the best player on the ice.
Yeah,
Jack Hughes.
No, I didn't watch.
Not a lot of correlation there, folks. There you go. Sherwood Ford Giant offseason question, all centered around the Oilers' 2nd round pick at 56 overall. Who could they pick? Who could they trade it for? We'll get that answer next week in Nashville.
Percentage chance of getting the first round, is it 0?
They trade into the first round?
Yeah.
The Oilers?
Who could they give up? Right?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, I don't think they need to. Right. Actually, I mean, there's so many players I would love to have.
I'm just thinking that Thursday is going to be boring, or Wednesday.
Oh, it's
Wednesday
going to be very boring. Yeah. Brainwash says Toffoli to Edmonton is a cheap option. It's not going to be cheap at all. It's going to cost you good assets. Like if they decide to hold on to him until the deadline, he'll go for a 1st round pick plus at the deadline. So if you're getting a full year of him, you have to give up some significant assets to get Tyler Toffoli out of Calgary. And like we said off the start of the show, if you missed it, take whatever the asking price is and add what Baggedmilk said, 15%, because it's the Oilers and the Flames will want more to trade him here. Yep. Mason says, do you think the Flames will trade up at the draft? I could definitely see them trying to trade up at the draft. The Canucks apparently want to move up as well. Michael is on there are still a lot of really good goalies. There's no elite goalie available in the draft. There might be maybe a 2nd or 3rd rounder hits, but there's no top 15. No one in the top 15 is picking a goalie in the draft. So that's what we mean. When we say it's lacking the high-end goalie, we're not saying there are no goalies. Goalies will get drafted. They just won't be in the top 15. So there's no elite goalie option. If there was no D-man that was going in the top 10 or in the top 15, we'd sit here and say, hey, it's a weak draft for defensemen. It's a weaker draft for goalies compared to some of the ones we've seen before with the names you said. Kosa, Askarov, Wallstedt, all those guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
Boy, oh boy, what I would do to be one of those top 10 teams though, picking in this draft this
Oh.
year. There is.
What would you do?
I'd take all of them. I'd be taking Michkov if like he fell out of the top 3 probably. If I was San Jose, I'd probably take Michkov.
Yeah.
There's so many good BC players too. It's kind of wild that Vancouver's probably just gonna get the worst of the 3 that could go. Too bad.
NHL Board of Governors recap from yesterday. We started the show with the news we got from Calgary yesterday. There was some other significant things. The salary cap's going to be $83.5 million. So a bit of it doesn't make sense. And like the reason I was so big on like it's going to go up more than that is because the league knows it's taking a huge spike next year. It is better for everyone involved to artificially inflate it 1 year in advance. Everybody wins, but no one's willing to sit there and go, hey, it's good for everyone. Let's do it. They're all trying to angle and negotiate with each other and try to, whatever. It's annoying. Frank thinks the cap could be north of $90 million next season now. So we could see a $7 million jump next summer.
Let's boogie. Well, it is wild to think that this is the 5th year Ken Holland has been the general manager and the salary cap's gone on up like $1 million.
It's $2 million. Yeah.
Nuts.
It's crazy. He spoke about that, didn't he? And he's just like, look at all the players we've had to pay. Like they've just kind of hit a wall at this point. It's unfortunate.
So again, next summer, if it does go up $7 million, I mean, the Oilers will suddenly have a lot of projected cap space. And because I think they lose some.
Everybody's tied. Everybody's essentially tied up.
Yeah. Like their top 5 forwards are signed. You could basically take that $7 million next year.
Give it to Draisaitl.
Much. No, I was going to say you just go right to Bouchard and say 7 by 7 Bouch, and then boom, you're good.
I was going to say give it to Draisaitl.
But Draisaitl's still a year away. The cap could go up $4 or $5 million more the next year.
So he's got 2 left.
Yeah, he's got 2 left.
So a year from now, they can renegotiate the extension.
An extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, give Draisaitl a boatload of money. Like,
give it to him.
Yeah, the Oilers have enough financial flexibility going forward. It's just going to be tough this year.
I wish the NHL would explore options like MLS did with the Messi thing, where it'd be like, okay, Leon, Connor, the cap is what it is, but we're going to give you a percentage of merch.
Yeah, MLS has done that for a while. Like when David Beckham came over, he had the deal that in his contract that one day he could own an expansion team in the MLS. And now he does with Inter Miami where Messi is gone. So it would be good if there was more attraction to it for players to take lesser deals.
All right, Connor, you get 15% of the concession sales. So then they're going to be selling $49 popcorn, and Connor's just going to be taking a rake of all of it.
And we'll be celebrating when he scores 70.
Oh, I'll be buying popcorn all day.
Someone in the comments said, Jonathan Taves retired. He's not signing anywhere. This kept coming up earlier in the week. Jonathan Taves hasn't retired.
He has not retired.
No,
he has not told anyone if he's going to play or not, but he is absolutely not retired. So wherever people are hearing that, stop following those news sources. If someone tells you Jonathan Taves is retired, tell them to check again. Anyways.
Where do you think he goes, though?
Edmonton or retires.
But like if he's able to play, don't you think there would be a handful of teams that would like if he's $1 million, let's say, if he's willing to play for $1 million?
Played like a 50-point pace last year.
There'd be a handful of teams that would want him, I would think.
Tampa.
It's just his health is obviously the issue.
Sorry, the person tagged Taves to Edmonton and said Clefbaum retired. They weren't talking about Taves. He was so I apologize, Dry. I was very confused about your messaging because of the Taves to Edmonton thing.
Taves is not retired, though.
Taves is not retired. Clefbaum, yes, you are right, has retired. Levi says, please no Taves. If he's $1 million, why would you not sign Jonathan?
Yeah,
What are we doing here? 31 points in 53 games last year. The Oilers could use that kind of thing.
An auxiliary piece with cup experience.
You bring that in for cheap if you can.
And then when he's done, you have another scout.
Yep. Where does he spend his summers? Just good area scout for there?
Probably Winnipeg.
Hopefully Ontario.
Northern Manitoba.
The polar bears.
The other thing that came out of the Board of Governors meeting yesterday is, and I don't want to dive too deep down this, but the NHL announcing they're not going to wear themed warm-up jerseys next year. And I know everyone automatically jumps to the pride thing. I think this sucks for way more reasons than that. I think about the Oilers Indigenous jerseys. I think about Vancouver and everything they did during I think it's Asian Heritage Month. Apologies if I mess up that name, but
yeah,
all that stuff. Really, really cool. The pride thing as well. Very cool. They loved it. Hockey is for everyone, right? And eliminating this, I don't know. I thought it was neat to see what teams let local artists cook up. Again, Vancouver did an awesome job of this. Edmonton did an awesome job of this. I liked seeing them do that. I liked the auction after. It always went to a good cause. And the NHL sitting there and basically letting the tiny little bigot crowd bark loud enough that they stop doing this is really embarrassing and a really bad look for the NHL. So
I think so too. And like you said, it's not just about the Pride Night, and obviously that's the big one that people love and rightfully so. But
yeah,
it's these heritage nights that the Vancouver Canucks do, the Indigenous nights the Oilers do, the also like the
Hockey Fights Cancer.
Yeah, like the St. Patrick's Day ones. Like there's a ton of ones out there, right? And it's just like, does it really matter? Like that one guy doesn't want to do it. Like it should just. Shouldn't be a distraction to the success that is actually happening. And for the NHL to just do this again, it just seems so NHL, doesn't it?
To add a little bit of levity into a serious conversation you guys are having, without the possibility of the St. Patrick's Day jersey, we would have never gotten that Lucic graphic that let us know he played in Boston.
That was funny. That's an all-timer. It's just, man, the NHL just can't get out of their own way when it comes to stuff like this. And like, there's way too many times in this league where the right decision is just like right there, right in front of them. The NHL goes and just goes right around it, right the other way, hard left.
I'm just curious now to see, like the Oilers never did. They did the tape for the Pride stuff, right? Yeah. Like I wonder how teams are now gonna do it.
It just won't involve warm-up jerseys, I guess. And I just thought that was such a unique thing. Like you don't really see that a lot in other sports. I like that the NHL did that. It's too bad. Too bad.
Hockey is for everyone. NHL counters. No, it's not.
Hockey is for nobody. Makes you think. Super dumb.
I think this now allows teams to maybe be extra creative when they do these.
Let's hope.
Pride nights, military nights, whatever it may be. I'm curious. I'm I guess excited a little bit to see what they can cook up and do, because I think the others do a very good job when they do the theme nights and what other teams are going to do around the NHL too.
Steve says, sadly, not a tiny crowd anymore. No, I actually think it's still a vocal minority, and a heavy vocal minority in that. It's just, whatever. I digress. It's disappointing to see the NHL make the decision that they did. Let's get to the Betway Other Sports Report. Betway 19+, please play responsibly. Yesterday, if you had the Raptors choosing the best dressed guy in the NBA draft, your bet would have won. Look at this dude. It's like he knew he was going to the Raptors wearing this suit.
I did not know that he was selected by the Raptors. All I saw was memes of the jacket. Looks fantastic.
Grady Dick, right?
Turtleneck and blazer. Come on, that is the classic look.
Sparkling turtleneck and sparkling blazer.
Come on,
the whole thing is exceptional.
There's some character there.
I'm getting married in that outfit.
I'm getting that jersey.
Mm-hmm.
They should do, speaking of special jerseys, they should do a Grady Dick draft suit themed Raptors jersey. Bedazzle it up. Why not?
I love it. I think it looks great.
Other things that happened at the NBA draft, obviously Wemby went first. 2 twins went back to back.
Yeah.
Has no one read the Brian Burke playbook? Someone was supposed to trade up and take them both, damn it.
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Ridiculous.
That has happened before in the NBA. Marcus Morris and Markieff Morris went 13 and 14 to Houston and Phoenix, I believe, at the time.
And the highest brothers drafted are the Ball brothers.
That is correct. The Alonzo Ball's not playing next season, which stinks. He's a very good player. But how about my prediction coming right yesterday when I said the Charlotte Hornets wouldn't be taking Scoot Henderson?
You have a guy named Scoot and you don't take him?
They pass up on it. I was reading some stuff after and they're like, we have LaMelo Ball. Why would we want another guard? And
He's young too, Scoot. Wasn't he only 17?
I think so. You can be 17 and get
drafted. He was the high school guy, I thought. Scoot.
Oh.
I was watching the NBA draft last night.
Big NBA draft guy. I didn't watch.
I like the outfits.
People are saying his outfit
actually 19.
Flash it up.
19.
People are saying that Grady did this as a hat tip to Kansas. It's like Dorothy's red shoes. He's from Kansas. So this was his nod to where he's from.
Yeah, because you can't see the kicks on the photo,
He had red bottom shoes as well.
Damn,
Christian Laboutons?
Scoot.
Is
an
it
NBA player named Scoot? I love him.
Is there any golf this weekend?
Travelers is on right now. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the odds there in just a second.
Riverhawks are on the road.
River Rocks.
Where are they playing?
So quiet local sport. Oh no, Sunday the Elks play.
The Elks, 1260.
I'm going to my first Elks game on Sunday in probably 8 years.
I might be there.
I heard they're real good.
Hey, maybe you're what they were missing to get a home win.
They stink.
Corey Connors is in the top 10 at the Travelers.
Oh, there you go.
Canadian golf to watch. Elks game Sunday. Not a terrible sports weekend at all, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully the Elks can score a point. I'll miss a field goal or something, score a point.
Oh, I love a good rouge.
First drive, just get a rouge just to throw something on the board.
I love a good rouge.
It is amazing.
Davin thinks their Elks are going to win because BM's going.
Hell yeah.
Well,
I'm going to bring the noise. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be drinking. I'm going to be yelling.
They play the Toronto Argonauts, whose quarterback is Chad Kelly, whose dad is
Uncle Kelly Clarkson.
Who's the famous Buffalo Bills quarterback?
I missed what you said.
That's his uncle.
This is uncle?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll cut that.
Oh, Jim Kelly and Chad Kelly. Yeah, the Argos.
I thought it was his dad.
I'm quite certain it's his uncle.
Well, there you go.
Canadian Oil says their home record's flawless lately. Quite the opposite.
Well, it depends how you score it.
Yes. Bet against the spread.
Christopher Palmer says you should have one of those bubuzelas.
I should have a Vuvuzela. Yeah. I'll just wait for Ricky Ray to get a touchdown and then I'll blow it.
Yeah, with Fred Stamps.
Gizmo still do front flips after touchdowns or no?
I think Pinball might be playing for the Argonauts.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you will see Pinball there, won't you?
Fucking right.
Doesn't he work for them?
He's the GM. Isn't he the GM?
Oh, me and
I think
Pinball
so.
have
Google it.
conversations.
Fact check.
What's his real name?
Pinball.
Michael Pinball Clemens.
Michael
It's
Pinball
Yeah, come on.
Clemens.
Talking about.
He is their
He's a motivational speaker.
well,
Not surprising.
obviously. How can you-
GM of the Toronto Argonauts.
you might see Pinball. You need to snap a pic of Pinball if you see him there.
Oh, I'm looking for him.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hell
I think
yeah.
I'm actually in the 1260 section. I did not buy these tickets.
Who did? Just a buddy?
Me, Mrs. Brother.
There you go.
I think I'm in that section.
It'll be a fun section to be in.
I think
Say
so.
hi to Matt Iwanek for me, who was on the show yesterday. and
We've
dropped
never
some
met, so I'll just
interesting
be like, hello, Matt Iwanek. Tyler says hello.
Fair. There you go. That's our other sports
Anyone know
report for
what you
Betway. Next week, live from Nashville, myself and Jason Greger gonna have some fun down there. NHL awards are next
Jason
week.
the intern.
Jason the intern. Gonna have the NHL awards next week. So obviously we know Connor's winning the Hart, Connor's winning the Lindsay. Connor got the scoring title, so he'll be there posing with his trophy. He's like, Stuart Skinner though, potential Calder. That's the big one.
What's
That's
he on
the big
Betway right now?
I locked him in. I think I got him at 9-1 right before the playoffs. I don't know what he's at now. I actually think he could win it.
I feel like he deserves to win based on his position alone.
Mm-hmm.
Matty Beniers, great season, not to take away from him, but he was not the driving force necessarily in the Kraken's success. He was a big part of it.
Mhm.
But if the Oilers did not have Stuart Skinner, they would not have made the playoffs.
Correct. Yeah, that's the bottom line. At the end of the day, I know it's not most valuable rookie, it's best rookie, but Stuart Skinner was damn good at his position. So I think there is a case. We'll talk about that next week. We'll have a weekend recap on Monday. Frank's going to be popping by the show. Nuge Lover says, Tyler, are you going to be wearing a cowboy hat for next week's show? Maybe. Maybe Gregor and I will both rock cowboy hats.
Maybe Waz can lend you his.
Yeah, maybe. There you go.
Thumbs up from Waz.
Big shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant, Betway, AMA Travel, Cornerstone Insurance, and Star Mechanical, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company, starmechanical.ca. Sports Closet from the Sports Closet studio. 3 locations in the Edmonton area, St. Albert Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, and Kingsway Mall.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing this weekend?
I'm going to the Elks game, maybe.
That's it? That's the whole weekend?
Well, Andrew's away this weekend.
Should we convene for a bevy?
We probably could. If I go,
I'm
I'll be there.
also going to the Elks
Should we
game.
convene for a bevy?
Yes.
I'm
wish
very
it was-
excited.
Open that up to the chat too.
I wish it was Saturday.
Also,
Also,
I also wish it was Saturday, but like it is what it is.
I just found a great bet on Betway.
Tell me more.
Mitchkov to go 4th overall plus 325.
Ooh, that's spicy.
He's
Maybe
the
we'll
third
talk about
best.
that next week on the show.
Maybe we will.
Giddy up. All right, there you go. That's a wrap on this week's edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. We'll be back Monday, live from Nashville for AMA Travel. We'll talk with you then. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.